Let me ask you a question real quick. Do you ever want to live in a fantasy world where the most handsomest guy always ends up with a girl and he may have time traveled or been a secret prince, but no one in the story ever asks any questions? You can live on Park Ave with a salary from Mickey D's or walk from Denver all the way to New Orleans. But me, I prefer all the reality and the truth bombs drop from the crew at RTP. You got what we need, 'cause these movies are a chore, but you keep us wanting more. RTP, you got what we need, 'cause roasting is your technique. I'm gonna tune in every week. Hey, hey. Laters, baby. But not too much laters, 'cause you got what I need.
Thank you for tuning into Romancing the Pod. You had us at hello. I'm Paige Wesley.
I'm Mikey Randolph.
And I'm Todd Schlosser. And this week, Mikey made us watch
Home Fries.
So, Mikey, this was your movie, so you get to start first. When did you first see this movie? Why did you pick it? All that good stuff. Hit us.
I remember halfway watching this as a younger man, and then I reread the synopsis when we started doing this podcast, and I was like, that checks out as something we should do. And then I started watching it, and it was way more bonkers than I remembered.
Oh, yeah.
And then, like, Todd's having a bad day, and I'm texting him, and I'm like, don't worry. You're about to watch a movie with 2 Apache helicopter attacks in your romantic comedy.
And I was like, that is exactly what I needed. Like, I didn't know that would solve my bad day, but Mikey, I'm here to tell you it did.
I wanted to dislike this movie, but somehow it works. I don't know.
This movie is unsufferably stupid, but I was here for every fucking minute of it, man. I loved this movie so much. But like when I messaged you guys about it, I was like, I just finished watching this dumb, perfect movie or whatever I said. And that's how I feel about it. Like, it is bad.
You mean from the creator and writer of Breaking Bad?
Oh my God, I have so many things to say about that.
When I saw that, I was like, what? Oh, of course, that happens at the beginning of the movie. If they had been like at the end, if that was the first time they revealed that, I would have been like, wow. And he still got work. That is amazing. But like, I'll also say this. I liked this movie.
I mean, I've got some notes and fun facts about when in his career he wrote this movie versus when it came out.
I'm guessing in middle school.
Close.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, no, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it because I think that informs why it is what it is.
It does kind of feel like someone's like, we want you to make a romantic comedy. He's like, I made a crime romantic comedy for you.
Some of those are the best. I enjoy a good crime romantic comedy.
Oh, yeah.
Like The Getaway.
He stole the emerald and her heart.
Right.
Like Sonic.
The Hedgehog.
I was going to say like Michael Douglas in Romancing the Stone,
That
but
makes
whatever.
sense. That
Yeah,
makes
yeah,
more
yeah, yeah,
sense.
yeah,
Yeah, okay, sure. Sure.
He stole the emerald and that alligator boots or whatever.
Yeah.
I would have got that reference.
But I do, of course you would have, Mikey. I do think that he must have been in middle school because only a middle schooler would be like, the National Guard has Apaches that they can just like check out whenever they want, right?
My Lord. That's one of the biggest problems in this movie for me.
I loved that.
I'll burn a fun fact.
Burn it, baby.
There's not a ton of fun facts, so I'm sorry I'm burning one now.
It's fine.
He wrote this in film school and then made it 10 years later after he'd made other stuff.
Sure.
Like, this was 100% like going into a pitch meeting and someone being like, what else you got? And he's like, this? Because only a film student would be like, 2 Apache helicopters. No regard for budget. Put her in a wig-ass wig. Like,
She looks
it's
like
so
the little
film
orphan
school.
Annie, all like
Yes.
older. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Older orphan Annie.
They had good chemistry.
They do have shockingly good chemistry in this bonkers fucknut of a movie.
That last scene, I'm just like, okay, I guess everybody's okay.
Oh no, that child is not going to be okay.
No,
Like,
there's
holy
nothing
shit.
okay about what happened, Mikey.
No one's going to be okay in this movie.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be okay.
No.
See, I grew up in the South. This is like Tuesday.
Kevin O'Hara is definitely going to try and continue to kill her Rocky and Bullwinkle style.
Yeah.
And the only crime is that there's not sequels.
But when this movie started off with who I'm going to think of as Daddy Warbucks pulling through the drive-thru and like owning up to the fact that he like Elon Musk banged his daughter because he's way too old. Sorry, not Elon Musk. Did you guys see that news story about Elon Musk's dad having a second child with his stepdaughter?
Whoa, no, what? I did not
Yeah,
know
it just
about
came
that.
out.
Yeah.
I
A second child.
I did see the article about Elon Musk got a girl pregnant like at the same time Grimes was pregnant, and I was like, how does this happen? Like, what is happening? And I don't know if you guys have been following the Nick Cannon saga well.
Yeah. Anyway, so I felt like that was very much like this movie because the guy who was having sex with Drew Barrymore was like 70. I mean, he was old.
No, he was like 50. He's in his 50s.
Okay, but she's like supposed to be 19 in this movie, right? Like she's supposed to be young in this movie.
19 or 20. I mean, I over 18 definitely.
Sure, but like not a whole lot over 18. Like she seems young.
Well, Luke Wilson's only 24.
I mean, he
this
seems young
movie.
too, but he has not committed a sex crime. Well, I guess Daddy Warbucks hadn't either.
Yeah,
but
nobody's
still.
committed a sex crime.
Whoa,
It's just
whoa. It's a sex misdemeanor.
Oh, Mikey, you got to date older.
No, what? Okay, first off, he's married. 2, he's her boss. 3, he's significantly older. He's got like 2 more strikes than I usually have.
He's not
he's
her
not
boss.
her boss. What are you talking about?
Do you think he owns that burger joint?
I think they worked together some in the cigarette factory. He worked with her mom.
No,
and
she met
some
him
of
in the
her.
drive-thru.
Yeah, he goes to the drive-thru to get a shake, and then he got a little bit more than a shake.
Oh, he's her mom's boss.
He might be her mom's boss because
Yes,
her
yeah.
mom might work at the factory. But yeah,
My bad. I'm not defending him in any way. I'm just saying, he did not hide the fact that he was married too.
Yes, he did.
Mikey,
No, he did hide
lied
it from
to
her, Mikey.
You see him put his ring back on and off when he goes to the drive-thru and stuff?
Oh, he's a terrible person. But
Yes.
I thought she knew he was married while they were having the
she
affair.
did not know. She did not
That's
know he
right,
was married
until she was pregnant.
Until she was pregnant, and he was trying to convince her to get rid of it.
But also, like, I need to know the opening volley of verbal banter in that drive-through line.
I can guarantee you it was him. I can guarantee you. Because like 19, 20-year-old women don't hit on 55-year-old men typically.
No, and also, I mean, she has air quotes dreams, but she doesn't have a lot of prospects where she lives. I'm sure he had much more money than she did and was probably taking her out and treating her nice.
Yeah.
And I think it was an easy sell.
I just don't understand someone who's got Catherine O'Hara at home.
Right?
Except for Catherine O'Hara, who's fucking murderous.
That is fair.
She is
Yeah.
crazy in this movie.
Bro, I would hook up with murderous Catherine O'Hara.
Mikey, what did we literally just talk about before we hit record about having sex with people who are legit crazy levels of crazy? Yeah.
Murderous.
I'm just saying, if you hit Catherine O'Hara from this movie and Catherine O'Hara and Beetlejuice, it's my type.
Oh no, Mikey, you're not going to live very long.
I don't want to.
Live fast, die young, baby.
And yeah, you give me so much shit about the people that I'm attracted to, and you're just like, let her kill me.
I'll say Catherine O'Hara is an attractive woman and very talented. Like, I am attracted to Catherine O'Hara in real life, not in this movie, though, because I don't want to get killed by the son she probably is having sex with.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like that Law and Order episode.
Gong, gong.
Oh my God.
Absolutely.
Dong dong.
No.
Because she's having sex with him.
No, I
You
mean,
guys
I
get it?
got it. It just made me sad.
He kills her at the end of that Law and Order episode.
Well, I thought he was going to kill her at the end of this. What's his name? Arnie or whatever?
Angus.
Angus, that's right.
You mean Gary Busey's son?
Yeah, Jack Busey or whatever.
Jack Busey. Yeah, strong chance that he was going to kill her. He may still.
I guess we'll have to wait till Home Fries 2 comes out to find out.
Home fried.
It's like aliens. Okay, so I had never seen this movie before today.
Okay, same.
But I do remember seeing the cover in Blockbuster all the time.
Oh, yeah.
There's no Apache helicopters on the cover.
No, none, not at all. And I remember thinking, wow, that wig looks terrible. As a child, as a child-ass child, I was like, that's a wig-ass wig. I know what Drew Barrymore looks like. I've seen Ever After. Like, it was just, yeah. Oh, no.
I realized between 365 Days and this movie that I have no wigdar. Like, I can't tell if something's a wig for shit.
Oh, because you didn't talk about the blonde wig in 365 Days?
Okay, I edited it out because I said that her hair looks terrible as a blonde because she had brown roots or
Yeah.
whatever. And then you corrected me and sort of explained why that would happen or whatever. But in my mind, there was never a chance it was a wig.
What? No, it's absolutely.
I'm not saying it wasn't a wig. I'm saying I have no ability to discern what is or is not a wig.
Here's what's crazy. In 365, it's not just a wig, it's a cheap lace front. So like they went to all the trouble of getting a lace front, but it's like a plastic one. So like at certain points you can see, and you were kind of noticing this, but didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Because within the dark roots, you could see the like
mesh
lace from the wig.
Yeah. And I was like, man, she's got to get that scalp fixed. Like, what's going on with her?
Real bad.
But the reason I picked it is because I love Apache helicopters.
Oh my God.
But I love helicopters.
You do.
I do.
You absolutely have a track record of loving and imitating helicopters on these shows.
There's more in this movie than there is love story, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, there's barely any love story. And the two people that do fall in love inexplicably, but they do have chemistry. So I appreciate that a little bit.
But what is love except for two people inexplicably falling in love?
No. Oh no, Mikey.
Paige,
no.
I think he convinced me.
No.
A man who can easily fly an Apache helicopter and struggle stacking 2 slices of bread, meat, cheese,
That was
lettuce.
hilarious.
Okay. However, him repeating the layers to himself as like a stress control mechanism was extremely endearing to me.
If they would have toned down the attacked helicopters, I think you could have had a better film.
No, I agree with you, Mikey. That's where I landed on this, where like, I didn't hate this movie, but there's so much in it. And I feel like, especially knowing Vince Gilligan's later work, he definitely gets better at my problem with this movie. And that is, he's doing crazy stuff just for the sake of having people do crazy stuff because he wants to be crazy and dynamic.
Yeah.
Instead of letting unusual things come from a place of being emotionally grounded in the reality of that character.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where Breaking Bad really succeeds.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, I think you can see some of that in like the robbery scene, which is very surreal and kind of silly, but not as over the top as like a helicopter hunting your stepfather to kill him for insurance money.
I mean, yeah, definitely. I don't mean, yes, the robbery scene, definitely. I don't mean in that sense as much as I mean that the scenes that we get between Dorian and Sally are weird, but they are grounded in a reality and an emotional reality. And I think that's why they kind of work, even though they shouldn't. Nothing about any of this should work. But then you get like the brother who's suddenly a serial killer, like hell-bent on serial murder.
Yeah.
And then like the mom who's like rooting for him to do it. And all of these people feel like caricatures as opposed to real people. Whereas when you look at something like a Breaking Bad, I feel like one of the best parts of Breaking Bad is you always understand why someone is going to do something, even if it seems crazy. You're just like, that's a bonkers choice to make, but of course you would make that choice.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite characters in Breaking Bad is Tuco Salamanca. And I know that's like a wild thing to say, but Tuco is a perfect example of a dynamic, crazy character who is making emotionally grounded choices. But he's also high on meth the entire time. And that's what makes it kind of work. But in this movie, you've got a lot of people acting at a high on meth level, but without the justification for it.
But without the meth.
Without the meth?
Yeah.
Well, probably some meth.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Like a little.
I mean, he's Gary Busey's son. I figured like...
Well, this is the 90s, so it would be like prescription pills they probably got from their doctor before
Diet
they cracked
pills.
down on all that. Yeah.
So do you guys maybe want to talk about this movie scene by scene?
Let's do it.
This perfect romantic comedy.
The chemistry in this.
It's the perfect movie for the podcast because
Yes.
it has real romance
And attack
and
helicopters.
real weird stuff in it.
Real problems. But I feel kind of about their chemistry the same way I feel about While You Were Sleeping, which is also a crazy movie, although a little more grounded than this. But part of the thing that carries it is that for some reason, Sandra Bullock, Bill Pullman, you're just like, yes,
You're like,
forever.
I can see this. Yeah.
That Lamaze class scene, I was like,
Oh, I was like, I have never thought of Lamaze as sexy until right fucking now.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
When she's
I
like,
get it. Yeah.
I was like, oh boy.
Oh, yeah. It got a little midsummery. Just, ha.
It was not that level of weird.
No, but it could have been.
Oh, look, my name's Todd. I go to Lamaze classes all the time to pick up women. Is that what you're saying?
Not anymore.
Mikey, you should go to a Lamaze class.
Yeah,
to pick up
Bro,
women.
I would. That hits my specific wants and needs in a very
yeah,
specific way.
just wander in. Anybody need a partner?
Who here likes meth but is currently clean, but I could definitely set up to take a fall for meth so I can just have
So I
the
can
baby.
take full custody of your child.
That's exactly
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I'm looking
I
for
got-
right. Yeah.
Paige is very disappointed that I caught on to that very quickly.
I'm not making that up. You told us in a public forum that is what you plan to do.
Beside the Apache helicopter, I come from a very southern, very sometimes white trash.
I mean, some of those scenes were very triggering for me, just because of family stuff, extended family stuff that has had to have been dealt with in recent years, and I hated those scenes. Even as I was watching them, I'm like, this is personally upsetting me because of personal things that have happened, but that does not make it a bad movie, and I have to kind of separate. But yeah.
I have heard the speech that he's a good man unless he starts drinking.
Oh, yeah.
So many times in my life from family members. And then like, we got to bail him out of jail, or he pawned the lawnmower again. Like, this is all stuff that happened in my family. So I was like, this could all happen. The attack helicopters can't, but I could definitely see one of my relatives getting drunk and holding up his kid's birthday party because they're in a fight.
Yeah. Like someone who maybe got drunk and then fell off the roof and broke their back and therefore couldn't come to our wedding. Yeah. No, sure. I fully understand.
So that checks out.
Can I ask something really quick? Because I do realize the plan was to kill him by scaring him with an Apache helicopter. All that checks out to me. I have no problem with that logic. But what if that doesn't work? Like, what if he just like goes home and is like, hey, what the fuck are you doing in an
Come at
Apache
me,
helicopter?
helicopter.
Yeah.
Here's the major plot hole.
Just the one? There's only one major plot hole. Okay.
This is the one that sets up the rest. As their stepfather, did he not know that they flew Apache helicopters?
No, he has to have known. And
He
he has
has
to have
to
known
know.
it was them. And he has to have known that it was them and they were going to kill him because they knew he was cheating. Like, all of that has to have like been a thing.
But my favorite part of this movie is that if anybody else, no one else besides the main characters acknowledged that there are Apache helicopters flying around in this town. In the final scene, the truck turns around and there's a guy like flicking them off as an Apache helicopter chases them. I'm sorry, if you cut me off in traffic, I'd be like, well, what an asshole. Oh, he's being chased by an Apache helicopter. You know what? I'll let that go.
Yeah, I'm going to let that slide.
Mikey, that's the proof that the Apache helicopters are so common that he's just like, goddamn fucking Apache helicopters. Just like he's flipping off the helicopter.
Oh, okay. So
That's
like
what it
maybe this is like an alternate version of Earth in the multiverse where Apache
Where
helicopters.
people don't have to file flight plans or anything like that.
Well-
Yeah, sure.
Drones are Apache helicopters, if anything else. You know what I'm saying?
This movie should have started off with them going to the base and it's them trying to get to the Apache helicopter. They're like, yeah, can we take the Apache out for a flight? And then being like, no. Why do you think you can just take it for a pleasure cruise, you idiot?
Can we borrow a war machine?
Don't worry. We put blanks in the minigun up front.
We have a very large defense budget and a very low control over what people do in those things. It would not surprise me if someone joyrided an Apache helicopter before.
I mean, maybe. Although I'd be a little worried that it's like, where'd that $10 million thing go? I don't know. The thing with explosives on it beats me. Like, what? I signed it out on the form.
Yeah. He's like, let me check the library card here real quick. Oh, it was the Busey brothers or whatever their names are in this movie.
Yeah, it looks like Angus checked out the Apache helicopter, but also, are you there, God? It's me, Margaret.
He's going through some stuff.
Hard times.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get into actually going through this movie. So we open with a guy behind the wheel of the car, and he's at the Burgermatic, which kind of looked like, I've been in Austin recently, it kind of looked like a P. Terry's to me.
Okay. There's a shitload of fluorescent lights. Like, when I saw that, I was like, good Lord, I would hate working there.
It's a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
But he comes through the drive-thru and he orders a shake, and the person in the speaker says it's going to be $1.03. And he's like, but it's me. And she just says,
Yeah.
yes, come to the window. And this is where we first meet Drew Barrymore in a wig-ass wig and a paper hat. And he's like, I told my wife about us. She's like, did you tell her about this? And like raises her belly up to say that she is supposedly 8 months pregnant in this movie, but like the size of her bump changes throughout the film.
It does, yeah.
Depending on what they have to have her do, which is kind of funny too. Because in this scene, she looks like maybe 6 or 7. And then like there are scenes later where she looks like 12 months pregnant.
Yeah. But I mean, he didn't tell his wife, Catherine O'Hara, that he was having an affair.
No,
she
absolutely
asked
not.
him, and he just didn't lie about it. Although I think he did lie about it because you see him put his wedding ring back on. I think he's lying to Drew
100%
Barrymore.
lied about it.
Yeah.
She was right. She just wanted to take him home and
Oh, yeah. He wanted to drive her home, quote unquote.
Right.
Which means sex, Mikey.
yeah, he wanted to get her double pregnant.
Double pregnant? Well, she did say put dents in my baby's head. And
She
you're like,
did say that.
oh no.
And I was like, there's no way his dick is that big.
But even if it was, oh no, that's not how this works though. Like, I'm worried for her and her sexual education.
Yeah, they don't flip over to the head down until like the 9th month. So I think he's just been poking his feet. Is that what you're talking about, Paige?
No, I'm talking about the fact that there are barriers, but fine.
Like moral barriers or?
No, like physical barriers.
Like, you couldn't possibly do that.
I mean, you would have, if you did it during labor, you could maybe like, but that's not, I mean.
I'm sorry. Are you expecting me to waste this semi-private room that I found myself in?
They have free applesauce here.
Didn't we talk about fucking in front of the help last week? I don't
We
think that
did.
this is the kind of help we were talking about. Hey, doctor and nurses here. I realize the water just broke, but I'm going to get up in them.
I'm gonna get up in them guts.
Oh,
I do like that. First of all, in the Facebook group, I very much appreciated everyone's renditions of Baby Girl, including the one that was just Gabagool.
Gabagool! It was so funny. That whole thing was hilarious. When I saw you post that, I immediately made the Bagool art. Oh, I was so proud of that.
it was funny.
So, secondly, a lot of people came to a consensus in the Facebook group that if there were to be a celebrity that did have sex in front of the staff, it would be Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox.
Oh,
and I'm
yeah.
like, yeah, and I would say Angelina Jolie and Billy Bob Thornton back in the day.
Yeah, they had vials of each other's blood around their neck. There's
Yeah.
nothing they would not have done.
But then also, as evidenced by the Beyonce song Partition, there is evidence that Beyonce has maybe had sex behind the staff, but just not in front of the
I
staff.
mean, that's fine
Hey, there's a partition there for a reason.
because Beyonce's classy.
Yes, she is classy. Anyway, so she gives him the shake and he offers her a ride home. She says no. And this is very much her being like, if you were married, I would have never slept with you. I did not know. And now I'm in this situation and I blame you for it.
Oh man, I've had that conversation before.
Were they pregnant?
No. But I was.
Yeah.
No one was pregnant.
You guys, when I worked at McDonald's, I would often sleep with people in the drive-thru.
I mean, I had a sorority sister who slept with a guy that she met in the Del Taco drive-thru.
How do you meet someone in the drive-thru?
All right. Well, if you've listened all the way back to the beginning of Cult Podcast, you've probably heard this story 5 years ago.
Let's pretend that I haven't heard it.
Yeah, I mean, Mikey is well known for listening to all the podcasts he can get his ears on. But just in case the listeners haven't heard it. Yeah.
Just in case, she was in the Del Taco drive-thru. He was in the car in front of her and was clearly under the influence, I would say. Also,
yeah.
it was like 3 a.m. Like this was, prime under the influence time.
Yeah.
He got out of his car and came up to her car and started to simulate having sex with the hood of her car. They exchanged numbers,
Of course they did.
dated for a few months.
I love it.
And then I ended up at a wedding. One of our original hosts of Cold Podcast, Marie, I was at Marie's wedding and I was sitting with a bunch of that girl's other like former roommates and friends. And I jokingly was like, whatever happened to that guy? And they're like, he's in prison. We don't talk about it.
Oh God. Okay.
That Subaru did not consent to that sexual act. And
Yeah.
Can I tell you the most Boston story that's ever happened to me?
Yes.
So I land at Logan Airport and I get my rental car at like 12:30 in the morning. I'm like, I'm starving. I got to go to like some place that's open. The only place that was open was the McDonald's by Logan Airport.
Great.
So I go to that McDonald's and I'm literally, it's like the only place that's open. So there's like a long line and I'm just like waiting, right? After about 15 minutes, I just decide to like, fuck it. I'm just going to go to my hotel and go to sleep. I can't wait this long for fucking McDonald's. So I drive around. The reason the line wasn't moving was because someone who was going through the drive-thru was intoxicated to a level that the cops thought they might be dead, and they had driven slowly into the side of the building. And I was like, Boston out here being crazy, and I can't handle this.
I have seen that happen before at a McDonald's as well, except mine was at 5 p.m. And they had 2 lanes, and they had to like open it up.
So if you were holding up a Boston McDonald's at like 12:30, 1 a.m. about 2 months ago, I hope you're still alive. But I mean, when I drove by, he was slumped down like it looked like he was lifeless. Like, and I heard the cop yelling through the window was closed, but he was like yelling at it.
He was probably drunk and high.
He was probably passed out.
I think he was just shit-faced. I mean, I've seen people like that at clubs.
Unless he was elderly, then he was probably dead.
No, dude looked like he was 30.
The woman I saw when it happened to me at 5 p.m. at the McDonald's on Colorado Boulevard in Glendale, she was like in her 50s maybe, and I worried that she was dead, and people had been like honking horns at her, and we like got to the other window and we're like, hey, there's a woman, like, you know, somebody needs to call. And then I happened to still be kind of stuck there as the police came up and knocked on her window, like right up on her window, and she just went like, huh? And you're just like, oh no, drunk. That is drunk for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he pulls away. He puts his ring back on. He drives off into a side road. And we're still getting credits. This is where I found out that Vince Gilligan wrote this.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, okay. He swerves to avoid an accident. And then he hears like wind and everything outside. And it reveals that it's a helicopter. Like he has almost just hit a helicopter on the road.
It's so crazy.
It is crazy. The helicopter follows him until he basically like banks the car and runs out through must be like a campground or something. Meanwhile, the helicopter radio is picking up the Burgermatic headsets, which is impossible.
Right.
Physically impossible. Like, but they're like closed channel headphones. Like I used to have to wear one of those at Pottery Barn next to the mall where everyone had them. And around this time, like not too far off from this, and we wouldn't pick anybody up, you know?
I would hope Apache helicopters are encrypted.
Same.
They definitely are. Yeah.
Now, here's the one thing I will say, and I think this is probably very different now because I think baby monitors are very different now, or at least the ones I've encountered as an adult. As a kid, baby monitors were set to radio frequencies, and my parents lived near an air base. They could hear air traffic control sometimes, or sometimes they would hear neighbors. That was pretty weird. But I know you can hack baby monitors now. Anyway, as depicted in this movie, I do not think this is possible.
No, it definitely is not. Because then all the radio equipment in an Apache helicopter would be useless in a time of war.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
But what they're overhearing Drew Barrymore and her coworker Roy fighting over who has to clean the shake machine, which in my mind, I was like, is that why the shake machine's always broken at McDonald's? Because nobody ever wants to clean anything?
That makes a lot of sense.
Anyway, meanwhile, we're cutting back and forth between that and the helicopter. The helicopter's chasing him. He drops his heart meds. He runs through this like row of benches, sits down on a bench, proceeds to have a heart attack, and he's dying. And then it looks like the helicopter just lights him up, like shoots him to a pink mist. However,
but he doesn't actually like turn into pink mist. You just see the minigun spinning.
Yeah.
And him, it like sort of cuts to him the next morning and he's just like sitting up fully dead.
Right. And I was like, what the fuck? And the coroner's like, get a shot of the two of us because he's sitting up all weird, which is...
I did find that very funny. Horrible, but very funny.
Accurate and also terrible.
Yeah. So they identify who he is, that he worked at the cigarette factory, that he lost his heart attack pills. And then they're like, does it look like there was any foul play? No, stop taking pictures then. Fuck this.
Yeah, stop wasting money on film.
And then they walk back through the benches to the car, but as if the benches are like, you know, when you go to TSA and they have it all roped off and you have to walk through it even though it's empty.
Yeah.
They walk through the benches like that, and it's like, there's straight lines through the benches.
I saw that too, and they could have literally just stepped over them. Like, they weren't super
They're not
high
tall.
benches. Yeah, like, I don't know what you're doing here.
Anyway, meanwhile, at Army, we cut to...
I'm pretty sure this is Air Force. Actually, it's National Guard.
It's Air
right?
National Guard.
Yeah.
It's National Guard because they were Army first and National Guard
Yes.
second because he talks about it. But so we meet Angus and Dorian, who are the brothers who were in the helicopter. We find out that they've collected the shell casings and that the guy they were chasing, Henry Lever, the night before, died. So now they're like, crap, we got to make sure that we covered our tracks. Are there any loose ends? And they're like, well, we heard that interference, but like, you know, there's nothing there, just Burgermatic. And they're like, well, we'll have to check it out. So they go to the Burgermatic.
Yeah.
And they ask about the headphones. And they're like, oh, yeah, we heard all kinds of crazy shit last night.
But it doesn't seem like they know that they killed somebody. Like, they didn't hear that over the radio.
No, they have no idea. First of all, he died of a heart attack.
Right?
No one's looking for anyone.
Yeah, there are no loose ends to tie up here.
Zero loose ends.
Yeah.
Immediately zero. But they now believe that she is a loose end because they've talked to her in the drive-thru and they think she heard something. So we cut to the sheriff knocks on Catherine O'Hara's door and is like, we found your husband dead of a heart attack. And she's like, oh no, he always takes his pills. I'm so sorry. Like, it's very, you know, she's sad and crying.
She does such a good job here because, like, at the very beginning, I was like, oh, God, like, she's really broken up about this because she, like, collapses and the sheriff,
Right.
like, carries her to a chair and sets her down. Oof.
Yeah, not me, bro. I was like, she's faking. That's Catherine O'Hara.
Well, I mean, yeah. So just as that's happening, her two sons come home and it is Angus and Dorian.
Yeah, it's the Apache twins.
The Apache twins are her kids.
Yeah.
Now, at this point, we don't yet know that he was their stepdad.
Right.
We just know that she's their mom and he was her husband. So knowing that Sally, Drew Barrymore, has some sort of relationship with Luke Wilson, I was like, oh no, is he going to, like, that's his half sibling. Oh my God. Oh no. And it ruined a significant portion of the movie for me because I was like, this is bad.
Yeah.
This is real bad.
Yeah.
So we cut to Drew Barrymore walking home because her car broke down. So the school bus passes and gives her a ride. I'm assuming after school because there's no kids on it.
Yeah. I figured, like, the school bus driver was just on her way home and she saw Drew Barrymore and she was like, hey, let me take you home.
Right.
Yeah. It was really sweet.
Yeah.
Or she's just practicing for the baby.
I guess.
You mean the school bus driver was, like, practicing
One
for
day
the
I'm gonna
the
carry
baby?
this
Yeah,
baby.
yeah. Okay.
Anyway, so she talks about why she's still working this late into her pregnancy, and it's because they're shorthanded at the restaurant. They need to hire people. But this is also where we find out how she feels about the whole situation, where she didn't know that he was married until she was pregnant and he tried to make her get rid of it. And she knows that his wife didn't know, and she feels bad. She feels genuinely bad and wants to apologize to his wife and feels like she deserves to know the truth. So we cut to the wife's house,
Yeah.
Catherine O'Hara's house, where we find out that she has helped orchestrate this entire fucking thing.
Oh, yeah. She is like the mastermind who has gaslighted her sons into killing her step-husband.
Their stepfather.
Their stepfather, yeah.
Which, by the way, he's definitely not the first, right?
Oh, no. I assumed that there are many people dead under those hay bales.
Yeah, something. Well, no, that's her house. That's Sally's house.
Oh, shit. Yeah. It's weird that they buried them there.
Yeah, it's weird that they buried them there. Anyway, so the only witness they have is, they think, Drew Barrymore. So their plan is to have Luke Wilson get a job at Burgermatic, and that's how they're going to find out if she knows anything. Meanwhile, Catherine O'Hara stays home and makes fake phone calls to relatives.
Right. And I did love that when the Apache twins get to Burger Republic or whatever the fuck this place is called.
Burgermatic Matter Burger.
Like little Busey is all like, listen, I would work here if I was good at that sort of thing. You're just much better at recon than me. He's like complimenting him into doing like the grunt work that he doesn't want to do. And I thought that was very indicative of an older brother.
Well, we also find out that this is his first job outside of
The army?
the army or guards.
That makes sense. I mean, he's 24. He probably enlisted at 18.
18,
and
yeah.
he did 4 years in the army and then 2 years in the National Guard.
Yeah. Well, and I think one of the things that I love about this movie is that it portrays working in a fast food restaurant as much harder than people anticipate it to be. And I'm like,
Yeah,
that is true.
it is.
That is 100% true.
But 90% of that is the shitty people who eat at that fast food restaurant. Like,
Oh, yeah.
they just have to deal with so much bullshit that's so sad.
There is, although if you're curious, there is a TikTok account that literally just shows how they make everything at McDonald's.
Okay.
And it's literally like a guy who works there and is like, this is the order. This is how we do it. This is the thing. Here's where we cook the buns. And it's fascinating. Fascinating. Like, I'm not even that big of a McDonald's fan, but I'm just like, I'm so interested in this.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's a science.
It is a science. So we cut to, he's filling out his resume in Burgermatic, and we do know that Angus gave him a gun to take to his first day. So he notices that Sally, Drew Barrymore, is crying, and he's trying to like start up a conversation with her to maybe cheer her up. So he's like, on this W-4, do I claim 1 or 0? And by the way, the answer, 0. So
Yeah.
he gives her a handkerchief and he's like, did someone die? And they end up sending her home. So he has to learn the sandwich assembly from Roy. And Roy walks him through the sandwich assembly in order, which will then become the refrain that he kind of says to himself to calm himself down throughout the movie. They're like, bottom patty, bottom bun, bottom whatever, bottom. And
Yeah.
I was trying to keep track of it. And they do it specifically quickly to make it confusing.
Yeah.
But I was like, as he was going through it, I was like, okay. And even I struggled. And I was like, man, there's a reason that I was in retail and not fast food.
I really loved Roy. I wish we had gotten more of Roy in this movie. I've
Me
seen him
too.
in a
He's a
bunch
great
of other
character.
stuff, but he's really
Yeah.
good. Like, he's still acting. I think he's on,
Oh, yeah.
I think he's still on Fear the Walking Dead. Is that still a show?
There's a new one, and I don't know what it's called.
I think that Fear the Walking Dead is the new one.
Fear the Walking Dead was the one after Walking Dead, but then there's one after Fear the
Oh my
Oh
God,
my
is there
God. I've
really?
been so tuned out. I have
Yeah,
no idea. But
I have not watched any Walking Dead since like season 3 or 4, so I don't know.
I just looked it up. His name's Daryl Mitchell, but it is Fear the Walking Dead that he's in. He's also in NCIS New Orleans. He's now like a TV actor, but like a very established TV actor.
Yeah, no, he works. I feel like I see him constantly.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he fails at assembling the burgers and criticizes the meat.
Yeah.
So they make him sweep the parking lot where he drops the gun, picks it back up. Then, and this was the kind of confusing, because they didn't set this up great. Shelley Duvall, who is Sally's mom, Drew Barrymore's mom, comes to have a birthday party for Drew Barrymore's 8-year-old brother.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Which is possible. I mean, she's like 19, 20. So
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, it's a gap. What I expected her to tell us is that the man that we meet just 2 scenes from now was her stepfather, because he is kind of creepy in a stepfathery way.
Yeah.
And that 8-year-old was from like a second marriage kind of thing.
I mean, it's definitely that lady's second marriage, because her first marriage ended when her husband froze to death at that hotel.
And came after her with that axe. Yeah.
You see, that kid, he's got the shine.
Anyway, because there's a kid's birthday party, they force Luke Wilson to get into the mascot costume for Buzz Burgermatic, who's a supersonic robot that delivers food at lightning speed.
This whole sequence is like, I was like, this movie's so good.
Mikey, I was thinking the same thing, especially when like he is dressed as, the Burgermatic guy, whatever it is.
Right.
And like the guy who has like a shotgun and is like holding the restaurant hostage so that he can be there for his son's birthday or whatever. He's like, hey man, you got to move fast. That's what they do. Like,
And he just wiggles his arms.
yeah,
Yeah.
in his face. He's like wiggling his arms in the kid's face. And the kid's like, what are you doing?
He's like, move through space, is what he says to him at one point.
Yeah. It's so funny.
But before we get to that, though,
Oh, yeah,
he has to
sorry.
get dressed somewhere.
Yeah.
And they won't let him disrobe in the bathrooms. So he ends up dressing in the walk-in freezer, which I was like, that's not better than a bathroom.
No,
like,
and he
I don't-
gets locked in. Like, he would have died if no one let him out.
No, there's food in there that you're going to serve people.
Anyway, he comes out. He kind of, the guy with the shotgun is the one who opens the walk-in. So he brings him out and tries to get him to perform for the kids. And again, to cover the shotgun thing, while he's in the walk-in, a guy comes in with a shotgun as if he's going to rob the burger restaurant. But we find out that it is Sally's father, or at least she calls him daddy, so I'm assuming father.
Right.
And he is under the influence and is holding up this Burgermatic to be there for his son's birthday, even though there is a restraining order in place. So it's like it's played for laughs, but it is a dark scene. Not great.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty terrible.
Yeah. So as he pulls Luke Wilson out of the walk-in, Luke Wilson puts a bullet on the grill in one of the burgers.
Like pushes it down to the center of a burger.
And he's playing along, but the burger bullet goes off.
Well, that's because someone ordered their burger loaded.
Oh my God, Mikey.
Guys, loaded.
I wonder if he wrote that joke.
I bet he did. But he uses the distraction from the loaded burger to basically disarm and subdue Red, who's the drunk guy. And then lo and behold, the gun is not loaded. Like, he had no ammunition.
Right. Because he's not that bad of a guy or whatever. Like, he should still be in jail.
Yeah, he's a good man, except when he drinks.
Ugh.
That's my daddy.
Well, the thing that real creeped me out, and the thing that made me think stepdad, although she says dad later, was he sees Sally and he's like, "You're showing real good." And I was like, "Oh,
yeah.
Is it his baby secretly? No. Oh, no."
I mean, she does have a thing for older men, but I don't think it is.
I don't think it is.
But it is the South. Like, you never know. Like, I was driving from Nashville to Orlando once, and I got to the Florida, like, Georgia line right there.
And you rolled your windows down and cruise.
Yeah, you cruise past a bunch of billboards that say she's your daughter, not your date. And I'm like, what is happening in this county?
Yeah.
I can't get either dates or daughters or anything. Like, I can't date someone to make a daughter. I'm going to die alone without a family. What are you guys talking about?
Man, I feel like that was the wrong time to say those words.
Yeah, probably.
It's hard to joke about incestual deep South things.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, so we find out that they do take Red in, and the cops are all there. Angus, the brother, shows up and is like, do they know? Do they know about Dad? And it's like, again, no one is looking for you. He died of a heart attack.
Right.
Yeah, he's got real, I've used a lot of meth and I'm paranoid energy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He has definitely hopped up on too much cocaine.
He has taken apart a toaster in his time. Yes. He has a girlfriend. Her name is Tina. Anyway, so Luke Wilson's like, she doesn't know anything. She didn't hear anything. And Angus doesn't believe him. He's like, well, then I'm going to go have to get a job there now. And so Luke Wilson's like, don't. I'll do it. I'll just keep working there. It's fine.
Yeah.
So they come home where Catherine O'Hara is digging through the cabinets and finds a set of rainbow condoms taped to the inside of a cabinet.
Yeah.
For Pride Month.
Yeah, for Pride Month.
But she is like talking to her kids and she's like, well, she wasn't using these with me or whatever. And they're like, Mom, we don't want to hear this.
Also, he's dead. Let it lie.
Also, it was an unopened box of condoms. He's not using them with anybody. Oh, and she's pregnant. He's not using condoms with anybody.
Which is more troubling. Like, I would feel better if there were condoms missing from that package.
Which goes to her point, because I think if you just change the tone, it's the same conversation. He didn't use these with me. Which basically is she's telling her sons.
Yeah.
He put it all in him.
Yeah, he only raw dogs. Yeah.
He dumped it all in him.
He left her burger loaded.
Oh, no. Between the buns.
Extra mayo.
Oh, no.
God.
Because it's white.
Fast food restaurants already put way too much fucking mayo on everything.
They really do. But it also might be semen. You never know.
I mean, it depends on how nice you were to somebody in the drive-thru.
You got two choices in that situation. One's yellow, one's white.
What?
Mustard or mayo? Is that what you're trying to say?
Compared to,
Does your semen come out yellow? Hang on one second.
but my pee does.
Oh.
Mayo starred mustard mayonnaise. So
Holy shit. I love that sketch.
it's one of my favorites.
That's Mr.
Father,
Show, right?
I'm dying. Yeah, Mr. Show. Bob Odenkirk, who would then later be on Better Call Saul.
Yeah, guys, if you don't know what Paige was referencing, do yourself a favor and watch. And Paige, I can't say it, so say it again.
Oh yeah, no, just it's go to YouTube. It's definitely on YouTube.
It
It's
is.
the Mr. Show sketch. Mayo starred mustard mayonnaise.
It's fucking amazing.
Vandalaise, mayo starred mustard mayonnaise.
God, Mr. Show was like so good.
It's all on Hulu, and I went back and watched all of Mr. Show
Yeah.
recently, and it
I
was
did too.
fucking great.
I missed it when it was on, I think it was on HBO, right?
It was on HBO.
Yeah, I didn't have HBO until like pretty recently. So, but man, it's so funny.
A little bit of early Jack Black in there too.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, so funny. Anyway, so Catherine O'Hara is having like a full blown meltdown about the fact that her husband cheated, or at least she is pretending to, because I think this is what she does. I think she makes a big old deal, and then Angus doesn't want mommy to be unhappy, and so he does the things that she is hinting at, while she can be like, I never said kill anybody.
Exactly. She's like gaslighting Angus into murdering her husbands.
Correct.
At least this husband.
Right.
I definitely think she murdered their dad when they were young.
Yeah, possibly.
Or he murdered him.
Yeah, one of the two.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is where Luke Wilson kind of starts to like, no, how many people are we going to try and fucking kill for this? Like, what are we doing?
4.
This is
the answer is 4.
4.
Well, if you don't count the baby.
Right.
But we have to, so it's 5. Too soon?
Mm-hmm.
Too soon to count the baby?
Yeah. But they go out and he's like, Angus is brainstorming ideas. And he's like, what about the lady who killed somebody with a frozen leg of lamb and then cooked it for the detectives? No evidence. Like, we got to do it with like a faulty gas stove or something, because whoever he's banging probably doesn't also have a heart condition like him. And this is where we reveal that they're talking about this in bunk beds, that they're full-grown adults that live in bunk beds.
I loved it, though. Like, because there's so much room for activities. Like, it just made me laugh. I thought it was very, very funny that they, like, live like 13-year-olds. And I was here for it.
Boats and hoes. Yeah.
What's the name of the company they start?
The Catalina Wine Mixer. Oh, the company they start? I don't remember the company name, but it's something Industries.
Yeah.
And I don't remember.
I believe it's Boats and Hose Industries.
No, it's Prestige Worldwide.
That's right.
That's what it was.
Hell yeah. But the company in this movie would have been Apache Worldwide.
Right.
Yeah.
Appropriation. Right.
Right. Yeah.
So we cut to Burgermatic the next day, and Dorian's kind of like, hey, I hope things are better today, and he's watching Drew Barrymore put her apron on in the drive-through window, and we could tell already that he's kind of into her.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, where'd you find that bullet again? And he's like, oh, I just found it sweeping up the parking lot. Just like,
It's a good
don't
answer.
ask any more questions. It is a good answer.
I mean, if this is truly in the South, like the relationships would suggest, then that's not out of the realm of possibility.
I mean, I found bullets in my work's parking lot.
I mean, in all fairness, Mikey, until recently you worked at a bullet factory. So, like, that just makes sense.
Well, the cigarette factory got shut down. The South only can do a few things.
Right.
I mean, I told you guys about the time I interviewed a person.
Yes, and I
for a
thought about
job,
that. I thought about that.
and they had a bullet in a waffle. Yeah.
Because you mentioned that, I think it was on Horror Version, but still, like,
Was it?
Yeah,
Okay,
that story is wild. I could not tell you what episode it was, but yes.
Yeah, I don't remember. But yeah, at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles in Pasadena.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Well, it's because he ordered his waffles
Loaded.
They honestly, Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles don't do shit to the waffles. It's literally just like syrup, butter.
Well, yeah, they just serve a very high caliber product.
They do though.
Love
I
it.
love those waffles because they're not like Belgian waffles. They're more like almost like they made an Eggo at home, but there's a little bit of vanilla and cinnamon in it. I'm like craving it right now. That
Paige,
sounds so good.
Paige, I'm not even joking. I had an Eggo with peanut butter on it for dinner tonight. Like, I just wasn't super hungry, and that's what I literally just ate that for dinner.
Not enough food for an adult.
It's a good thing I'm a little child baby boy.
Little titty baby boy. Anyway, so he gives her a helicopter toy for the baby.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's misguided, but very sweet.
Oh, I liked it. He was like, one day we're going to have to explain that this is how we killed that baby's father.
Yeah. Yeah.
With an Apache helicopter, which is a cool way to go, though.
It is, yeah. I got scared the shit out of me to death by an Apache helicopter. But unfortunately, the Sugar Hill Gang was not there.
Heart disease runs in our family, runs away from Apache helicopters.
Oonga, 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 oonga.
I'm Big Bear. I am the chief. I don't know why, but I love that fucking song because it is ridiculous.
It's terrible. A cultural appropriation out the yang.
Oh, yeah.
Terrible. But do have fun at weddings.
I know, right?
Anyway, as she's cracking coins, opening her register, there's a guy on the loudspeaker trying to be like, are you open yet? You're in there, so you should be open. Which, I swear to God, if I had a nickel for every time I had to tell somebody to fuck off until we are open, because like people would show up and they're like, well, you're here, so, and I'm like, I have shit to do before the store opens, and also, fuck you. The hours are on the outside. Like, what are we?
Yeah.
That was one of my big, that or people after you close are like, come on, just let me in. No, I have a home and a life and things to get back to.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, but are y'all open though? Like I came for breakfast.
I came for breakfast. I honestly I am now craving syrup waffle. I'm just thinking about Roscoe's. Anyway, so Luke Wilson goes outside and gets into the guy's car and is like, hey man, she works hard and deserves your respect and you're not showing respect. So I think you should leave. You're not welcome here anymore. And then just calmly gets out of the truck and goes back into the restaurant.
Yeah.
And she hears all of it because he's wearing his headset.
Yeah.
And while this is a strong swing and could have gone badly, I do think that he does it in a calm way, and it seems to touch her, where she's just like, oh, no one ever stands up for me, but he did, which is very sweet.
It is sweet. I mean, their relationship, although weird because she's pregnant with his stepbrother, is sweet. Like, he immediately feels like he wants to take care of her and be sweet to her.
Whoa. No. Well, they never got married. Is it still technically a stepbrother?
Yes.
Well, it's his stepbrother, right?
It's his stepfather's son. Because his stepfather's dead and they're not married anymore.
They weren't step.
They're not.
Loophole, baby.
I think they're no longer step, but it's still strange because the man who impregnated the woman that he's going to be with also had sex with his mom, his biological mom.
Yeah.
That is a reality in this story.
Yeah. And Luke Wilson probably hasn't by the end of this movie, but is probably going to have a lot of sex with Drew Barrymore's character.
Yeah, at some point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she could literally look at him during sex and be like, your daddy did it so differently.
No.
Mikey, you look so mad at me right now.
I don't like that.
I rate that -4 dildos or whatever rating system Pornhub uses. So she's very touched by him defending her.
Yeah.
And he's his two-stepdad now.
As in the dance, as in two-stepping.
Oh, okay.
Paige liked it.
I liked it. That was actually pretty fun. Anyway, it's no aloof Brett. Anyway, she asks him I'm going to Lamaze class and I need a partner, but I don't have one. Will you come with me? And so they go to Lamaze class and he has to explain oh, I'm just a friend. But Lamaze class is very physical. So she's all up in his lap and they're holding hands and
they literally get up and embrace because there's one of the techniques where you're holding on to each other and she's breathing over your shoulder sort of.
Yeah.
Right.
I've done that technique a time or two.
Is that when she was cowgirling or was it you more on top and she was just I can't breathe, get off of me?
I was crying. It was just
Well, now I feel bad for making fun of you.
Yeah, you should.
My grandfather was killed.
Fucking get high-roaded every time I try and make a joke about Mikey's sex life.
It was when my grandfather died from an Apache helicopter crash. He wasn't in the helicopter. It just fell on him.
Oh, the odds of that. I mean, come on.
Died by fallicopter.
Fallicopter is amazing.
Got sent to helicopter. Anyway, the Lamaze scenes are shot. It reminded me of some of the early scenes of Fresh when they're kind of getting to know each other, where it's shot kind of soft focused, focusing on them being close, kind of like
they're at a dance.
Vaseline edges. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always into Vaseline edges.
Okay.
I mean, at least you're using lube. I mean, that's fine. Oh, yeah, that was our fault for thinking that when you said it.
Sure. I do like that the Lamaze lady comes by and is relaxed jaw means an open vagina. And I was and then I just relaxed my jaw and I was damn, she right.
I actually did wonder about that, but I'm glad that you're here to set the record straight on it.
My gym is having a pelvic workshop.
Mikey, why are you not there right now?
You should come in. It's actually really good for men and women to strengthen their pelvic floor.
Yeah.
That's what they said. And I was
yeah,
none of these words make sense to me.
Well, do you want to have better sex with people? Because if you do, strengthen your goddamn pelvic floor.
Do Kegels all day, Mikey.
All day.
That's when you pee and then stop peeing and then pee again, right?
Well, I mean, you don't have to do it while peeing. You can just flex that muscle while you're. That's
just
the
flex
weirdest
that
thing I've ever heard you
muscle.
say. Yeah. Okay.
You get cuts. You gotta pee, start and stop, start and stop, start and stop.
I mean, that's the muscle, but you don't only do it when you're peeing.
You're doing it right now, aren't you, Mikey? I can see it on your face.
I've been doing it for like the last 2 minutes.
I'm doing it now.
I, as a stress mechanism, grit my teeth a lot and grind my teeth a lot.
Yeah.
So my jaw is, I have to remind myself to relax my jaw a lot. So when I like thought about it and was like, oh.
Next time I'm having sex, I'm gonna be like, "Hey, baby, go ahead and tighten your jaw for me."
Usually your jaw is, well, and I guess I can't speak for everybody. My jaw is often clenched during sex.
Well, yeah, because you only have sex on like high speed chases.
I only fuck on roller coasters.
Anyway, so they do the like junior high school slow dance one, and she says, "You didn't get pregnant with those legs together. Baby's not going to come that way either." Which is pretty crazy. But he drives her home, and instead of just dropping her off at the driveway, he drives her up to the front door.
Well, because that's how you know someone likes someone, because they won't drop off an 8-month-old pregnant woman to walk a mile down the road.
My dude, you would be shocked at how often guys will just be like, "Is this good enough? Bye."
Really?
Like, oh yeah.
That's so crazy to me.
That is really sad.
I've been on some shitty dates and I still walked them home or like drove them to their house. Like, you want to make sure everyone gets home safe before you never talk to them again.
Right. I've also been like, drop me off here so that people don't know where I live.
Oh, yeah. And that's also a good plan if you get like a weird vibe. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, for a first date, just meet them there. Don't let them pick you up at your house.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I don't like people. Yeah. I always like to have my car so I can leave places at any time. It's my like.
Yeah, no, that's a great pro tip. I mean, I hate that Mikey knows where I live.
Why you know where I live? How about you? How does that feel?
I mean, I helped you move in, you bastard.
You're the one who started this.
You're both titty baby bitches.
I do like a good boob. I will tell you.
Same. Fully same.
Shocking no one.
Get in my mouth.
Oh, God. You look like you grossed yourself out with that, which
did.
was really funny to
I
watch.
did. I really did not like what just came out of my mouth. Oh, man.
The look on your face is one of the best things I've ever seen.
I am reminded of a Southern phrase I was once taught. Tough titty said the kitty, but the milk is still good.
Who taught you that phrase?
A real weird cat. Maybe a magical cat. I don't know. It spoke English. It kept trying to put my dick in a mailbox. Anyway, so he drops her off at the front, or like toward the front of the house, and as she's getting out of the car, she's like, "Hey, you didn't ask me about who the father was." And he's like, "Oh, I figured it was a touchy subject, but." You know, and she's like, "No, I know, and I know this is weird, but I'm going to be a good mother, I promise." And he just goes, "I know." And then she kisses him and she hops out of the truck.
Kisses him on the cheek.
Yeah, on the cheek.
Yeah.
In a very sweet interaction.
Oh, yeah, it's super sweet. Like, I sort of like his respect for her in this movie, because that's not something you see in a lot of like 90s movies. Like, a lot of times, like, the guy sort of aggressively pursues her.
Right.
And I feel like Luke Wilson's character is just very much like, she's a pregnant woman. I want to help her. She needs help. And then he eventually develops feelings for her that are romantic.
Yeah, I feel like all of his interactions with her are very rooted in the fact that he cares about her and cares for her and wants the best for her. And I do love that. It's a very sweet, and there's no, I mean, the only point at which any of their relationship is in question is not from him treating her badly or doing anything mean to her. It is that they find out that the father of her child was his stepfather.
Right.
Which is an understandable thing to be upset by.
Yeah, I can be honest with you and say that I would be out at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't blame anybody.
Yeah.
So,
I'm more in.
no.
It's a good thing your mom never got remarried then.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, if he had a hot daughter, then that's like everything that's
That
on
is
the
not
internet.
this
That's
situation,
not this
Mikey.
situation.
Drew Barrymore is not their stepsister.
That's right.
This is,
So my mom would have to be remarried. He would have to go to a Wendy's.
Yeah, and knock up Wendy, and then you fall in love with Wendy.
I murder him.
After you murder him, yeah.
Gotcha.
right.
Yeah.
It's a lot to unpack.
It's an Age of Adeline scenario where she banged the dad and the dad's like, "You guys seem so happy together." Like,
Dear Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, I never thought it would happen to me.
Anyway, so he checks his watch and he's late for his stepdad's viewing.
Right.
So he gets there, he's still in his work uniform. They steal a tuxedo off a dead body that I guess was their high school coach, Coach Adams.
Dude, I love that scene because he picks up Coach Adams to take the jacket off of him and then just drops him and his body like slams back on the table. And then when you see him with the blazer on, because he's only wearing
cut
the jacket.
down the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because you never see the back of someone in a casket. Like, it doesn't matter normally, but because he's walking, you're like, what the fuck happened to his jacket? Loved it.
Well, and also nobody factored in the smell.
Of the jacket?
Yes, because it's been on a corpse that's being embalmed.
Yeah, I bet it would smell like shit.
Like formaldehyde at minimum.
Yeah, my head theory was that that town smelled like that. Their big industry is a cigarette factory.
That's true. None of them can smell anything.
Yeah.
All of their olfactory nerves are shot.
That factory shares the formaldehyde with that actual embalmer.
Yeah.
That checks
Puts
out.
extra fiberglass in it for spice. So he goes to meet his mom, Catherine O'Hara, who's putting on a big show of crying.
Oh, yeah.
And she has like a death grip on his hand. So we cut to the next day. He walks into Burgermatic in a suit and he's like, I got to go to a funeral. But also he looks great in that suit. But Roy is like, man, I knew you were FBI, which I think is hilarious.
Same. It is very funny.
So he goes to a funeral, but then Sally also is like, I have to attend a funeral. So we cut to the funeral.
I did like that when he goes in to tell the owner, or maybe not the owner, but the manager of Burger Rama or whatever the fuck they work.
Burgermatic.
He's like, I got to go to a funeral. And he's like, all right, whatever, man. He just does not care.
Yeah.
And that was not my experience when I worked in fast food.
Oh, no. Absolutely
Why
not.
don't people want to work anymore? I have a funeral.
That meme where there's like a hand on a casket that just says like retail manager, how could you do this to us? We're so short staffed.
Yeah.
And it's like at a person's funeral. That was my experience.
Same.
Where like my job now is great about like if you need time off and you just like, hey, I gotta
Same.
take time.
My job now is that way too. It's great.
And it took me a long time to unlearn the idea of like, if I take time off, no one dies. Like, I need to take time off so that I can be refreshed and alert and not burned out. And while I'm gone, the world doesn't end.
Right.
If I'm gone for a day.
Yeah.
Because in retail, the world would fucking end, which is how I went 6 months in a row without a day off for a while. So like...
Yeah. The difference is when I take a day off, it's so that someone dies.
Oh, nice.
If I take a day off, people do die.
I know.
Yeah, that's dark, but accurate.
And it's the women, because I murder that P word. You know what I'm saying?
Ladies.
Paige, I did the old 1-2. You fell for it.
Please stop killing us. There's already enough stuff killing us. Stop throwing heads at me.
How dare you quote Lake Placid to us?
Just clench your jaw, please.
Anyway, so we go to the funeral. Catherine O'Hara is milking it.
Yeah.
And Luke Wilson sees that Drew Barrymore has showed up in the distance. And to keep his family from looking at her and noticing her, he kicks flowers into the grave so they don't see it.
Yeah. He like causes a diversion.
Right. This is also where we hear him reciting the burger order to himself.
Yeah.
So we cut to their car on the way home from the funeral. And Angus is just flicking Dorian the whole time.
Like in the back of the head. It's so funny to me. That is definitely an older brother kind of move.
Yeah, I've got a good flick.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
Mine really hurts because I've got hard gel nails. So like it'll hit you. Anyway, so they're trying to brainstorm like, Catherine O'Hara's like, I felt it. I knew she was at the funeral, but I couldn't figure out who she was. And they were like, well, there's a lot of women there from the factory. And he's like, yeah, the factory. Like, why don't you check at the factory and see if there's anyone there? Because he's thinking it'll divert him from looking for Drew Barrymore. So he shows up to Drew Barrymore's house and he's like, hey, I really have to talk to you. Because I think at this point he has realized who the father of her child is. He has made the connection. So he comes in and she's like, hey, let's go see the helicopters. Like, let's go on a fun date, basically. So he agrees. He takes her to go see the helicopters.
Which I don't think is something you could do. I don't think you could take a date onto the military base to show them the like hardware.
I've been on Air Force too, but like that was as part of like a specialized trip thing when I was in high school.
Okay.
Yeah, but this all takes place before 9/11.
I mean, yeah, it does. It takes place 3 years before it.
Yeah, and I was on Air Force too after 9/11.
All right.
Mm-hmm. It was. It looks like a plane.
I mean, isn't Air Force 2 just the vice president's plane?
Yeah, it's the vice president's plane. And it is a private jet, so that's cool. And then I did get to sit in an Apache helicopter.
Was the Sugar Hill Gang there?
No.
Did you scare anyone to death?
Yeah.
Almost, because they landed one near us, and they because they're like, so you can feel the like wind, like how much wind it generates. So they have you like stand a certain distance away, and they land it, and you're just like like blowing your cheeks back and stuff.
Any closer, you freeze to death right there.
Well, any closer and the propellers get you, I think. But like, anyway, yeah, it was fascinating. Fascinating. Will never use it probably ever in my life.
You never know. Like, Paige is like, I was wrong. I had to fly an Apache helicopter yesterday.
Yeah. Who knew that one day I would find myself as the vice president? And now it's my plane.
Tank, I need the user manual for an Apache helicopter, quick. Yeah, that's right. We're still making Matrix references. A movie that came out the year after this movie, 23 years ago.
Apache helicopters were so hot back then.
They honestly were. They were like the hot new thing.
Because Black Hawk Down is only a couple of years after this too, right?
It's the same. It's like the same time.
So they go up to one of the helicopter mechanics, and he's like, "What are you up to?" And he just says, "About half-mast. Who's your lady friend?"
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a problem. He's a problem.
Do you recognize that guy though?
No, who was he? He looks familiar, and I couldn't think of it.
Yeah, so he's been in, I think it was Eastbound and Down. He's been in a bunch of like stuff with, who is the guy from Eastbound and Down?
Danny McBride.
Yeah, he's been in a bunch of Danny McBride stuff. I can't remember his name, but he's honestly a really good actor. Okay, I looked it up. His name is John Hawkes.
Okay.
And he has been in a lot of shit. Deadwood the movie. He was in Deadwood the show. Obviously, he was in Eastbound and Down. But he's great. But it was just wild to see him in this like one scene part. I think the best thing I've seen him in was 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Oh, that's such a dark and good movie.
It is, and he's really good in it. Although he doesn't have like a huge part, but he's really good in it.
Eastbound and Down reminds me of that meme that we sent in I think it was on our Instagram group chat. About like, sit down, bitch, I got hard truths to tell you.
Yeah. The opening to Eastbound and Down, I think, is the most perfect opening to any like funny TV show ever, because it is like all voiceover, and it's like the main character in Eastbound and Down talking about how much of a badass baseball player he was, and then it zooms in on his car or his truck, and you realize it reveals that he is listening to himself read his own audiobook. And it's like, it's so funny. I loved it so much. Anyway.
I do love that. The only one I love more than that is the opening of Righteous Gemstones, where they are baptizing a bunch of people in a wave pool,
In
and then
China.
someone turns on the wave pool.
God, it's so funny. It
so
really
much.
is. Yeah, you're right. Danny McBride knows how to cold open like a champ.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It's so good. Anyway, so he's showing Sally the aircraft and shows her how the guns work. And Luke Wilson kind of gets rid of him. Like, can you go get us some Yoo-Hoos? Like, please, bye. And he pops into the cockpit and he's like, can I ask you about the father?
Yeah.
And she's like, well, his name was Henry and he was older than me. And he's like, did you love him? And she's like, at one time, but not anymore because he lied to me.
Yeah.
And this is where he finds out that she didn't know he was married until it was too late.
Yeah.
So in his mind, it's like, she did not maliciously do this.
No.
Yeah.
Like,
And it does seem at the beginning like she cut it off when she found out he was actually married. Yeah.
yeah, she did. And so he says, I had to tell you something important, but instead they kiss.
Yeah.
Anyway, she says that she wants to introduce herself to Henry's wife, his mom.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't think it's a good idea.
I don't think it's a good idea either, honestly.
Yeah, and she says, I want to explain myself before she finds pictures of us. I think they're in the office.
Yeah.
So Luke Wilson takes off for the office because he's got to find those pictures before Angus does.
Yeah.
And he tosses the whole desk, finds a box of hair dye, which I thought was very funny, and finds the pictures,
Yeah.
newly developed. And one is just a picture of legs. It's very strange, but you see it a couple times.
I didn't realize that, but that's disturbing, right?
Nothing wrong with that.
Not a woman's legs, just a man's legs in
I
shorts.
like my legs. I got pictures of my legs.
You have pictures of just your legs?
So my only feet.
Oh, jeez. Anyway.
Thighs out, skies out.
Okay.
Skies out, thighs out. I'm so tired.
I'm trying to get us through it so we're not here till a million years.
It's like recording it like 9 at night, or starting recording that late is a good idea.
Yeah. Anyway, Angus is like right behind him. So he stashes the photos of Sally, gives the rest to Angus, and then he burns them and flushes them. Meanwhile, Angus finds pictures of a completely different woman and decides that he's going to just fucking murder her.
Yeah.
By undoing her sewage pipe, which is real gross, and putting a hose from a CO2 tank up into her house so she gets carbon monoxide poisoning.
I mean, that does happen. Like, I do feel like that would be a good way to get away with killing somebody, because carbon monoxide poison, that does happen.
Right.
That's why your most smoke detectors have the CO2 detectors as well built in.
Right.
So like
right.
they'll go off if you have a high level of carbon monoxide in your house.
Well, what happens when you have Colorado squared too much in your house?
It's fucking lit, my dude. Chiefed to the rafters.
That's how Weird Al's parents died. It's actually a really sad story. He bought them like their dream house and they died in it like 3 months after they moved in.
Yeah,
It's
brutal.
real sad. Yeah.
That's also how the parents and the sister in Midsommar died.
Yeah. Well, but it was because
I mean, they were murdered.
Yeah, they were murdered by their daughter.
Yeah,
but
just like
yeah.
in this movie.
Oh, yeah, pretty much.
Oh, yeah. But I don't think Weird Al killed his parents. I was just saying that they died because of that. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
yeah.
You'd have a different nickname. Mean Al.
Murderer Al. I do think Weird Al fits him better.
Yeah, I think so too.
Love Weird Al.
Anyway, they go up into the house to check, and she has passed out. And Luke Wilson tries to save her, but he also passes out.
I thought that was funny because he's like giving her mouth to mouth. And because he's doing that, he's breathing deep. And of course, he's breathing
Right.
in carbon monoxide. So he just like passes out.
He's not the smartest man.
No, he's not. But
No,
Angus goes
he's
in there
not.
and like saves him. I did think it was funny when Angus is in there. He then steps outside. You hear him take a big deep breath of like outside air. And then he comes back in to save his brother. Yeah. But the lady wakes up too.
Yeah, the lady kind of wakes up too.
Yeah.
She comes to. It's like Sonic the Hedgehog where you have to find the air bubbles.
Yes.
And just like,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So she wakes up, but they're already gone. But she lives, we assume.
Yeah.
They show the photos to their mom, and their mom's like, no, that's one of his lesbian coworkers. It's definitely not her. You should have asked me first. But also, while she's looking through the pictures, she's like, well, there's only 20 pictures here, but this was a 24 exposure roll.
Right. Which I guess that's a thing, right? Like, so he could just go to the place where you get film developed and have them reprint those?
If you have the negative, only
Yeah.
if you have the
Okay,
negatives,
okay.
which we don't know yet, but they do have the negatives, and that's what's going to happen.
Oh, okay.
Meanwhile, Sally shows up at the house, and and Luke Wilson answers the door, and so
Yeah.
she realizes, oh, you're the stepson. Why didn't you tell anything? So she leaves. Good call. He goes after her in the truck. Meanwhile, they find the negatives and have them developed, and at her house, he's like, I didn't know until yesterday. It's not easy to explain. Like, I like you. I'm not just trying to target you for this. Like,
Right.
I do really like you. I understand that this is weird. Meanwhile, we also find out that her mom has bailed out her father from jail from the whole heist at the Burger Matic.
Who is Shelley Duvall? I mean, we haven't really said
Yeah.
it. We didn't make a joke about it, but that's Shelley Duvall, which
Right.
it was great to see her in something.
Yeah.
Right. So he leaves, but literally as he's leaving, his brother is there in the other car because he has already seen the negatives and they know who it is. And so Sally comes out and introduces herself, and she's like, hi, I'm sure he told you what happened. I'm real sorry. I just want to apologize and we can stop bothering each other. And
Yeah.
so Angus is like, oh, I'll bring mom by sometime. And she's like, okay, great. And it's like, no.
Yeah.
We cut back to the house where Catherine O'Hara is freaking the fuck out because she now knows who it is and wants to get her killed because that's her manipulation game. And we do get one crazy line of Angus being like, you were rubbing bacon with the girl carrying dad's baby, which is just like, oh, all those words together. Like, no.
Also, is that a thing, rubbing bacon? I've never heard rubbing bacon before.
What do Kermit the Frog's fingers smell like?
Miss Piggy.
Bacon.
Okay,
They
well, yeah,
smell
yeah.
like bacon.
Yeah,
That's
of
where I have
sizzling,
heard it
you know what I'm
before.
saying?
Yeah. But also because bacon's kind of like flaps.
Clench your hog jows.
Anyway, at this point, Catherine O'Hara is like, I can't believe you would do this to me. Why would you hurt me this way? You were my favorite.
Oh my God.
Because that's what she's going to use to get Angus to do what she wants.
Yeah, she knows what she's doing.
Yeah. And Luke Wilson is like, hey, she's trying to manipulate you. You don't understand, but she is.
Yeah.
And she doubles down with Angus and is like, do you remember our counting game when like we would sit together because we got tummy aches and count, which to me suggested that this had been a manipulative and abusive relationship for a long time.
Oh, yeah. It also made me very uncomfortable because it seems a little bit more creepy. I didn't like it.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Angus comes out of the bedroom to find Dorian on the phone with a detective because I think he was going to turn them in, essentially.
Yeah.
We cut to him running away, cut immediately to Luke Wilson having to break out of the closet through the wall where he has been duct taped and imprisoned.
I really did like that because it would be harder to like knock down the door than it would be to like punch through the drywall. And he does punch through the drywall and then open the closet door from the outside. I thought that was very smart.
It was very smart. So he tries to wave down a car. He does manage to get one. He goes to Sally's house. Angus and his mom are already there, and his mom is acting fully normal.
Yeah.
And he's like, I know she's here to try and kill you. So he's like checking the toilet, and he's got his hand down there. He's like ripping the stove out of the wall. And they're like, you're crazy. You're scaring us. And this is where he admitted that he killed Henry. They did it for mom. She knew about the affair. We chased him in the helicopter. You heard him in your hellphones. You heard him in your headphones.
Your helicopter phone.
Helicopter phones. Yeah. We only meant to scare him. And Sally's like, what? What are you talking about? As they're kind of figuring everything out, the whole house starts shaking because Angus is above them in a helicopter.
Yeah, he literally is bringing a helicopter to a domestic dispute.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they make a run for it. They run to
the Sugar Hills.
The family runs somewhere else.
Sorry.
Yeah, the Sugar Hills.
No, they just run outside and they're like running in between like the bales of hay, right?
The bales of hay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they run to the truck.
Yes.
And it ends up with Dorian, Sally, and Mom in the truck. And they take off driving and the helicopter follows until it literally corners them on the road. And that's after they've cut a bunch of people off and people are flipping off the helicopters.
Yeah, it's like a 4-minute chase scene.
Yes. So they're literally facing the helicopter down and he's trying to get Mom out of the truck so that he can shoot at least Sally, if not Sally and Dorian.
Yeah, but he does want to get Dorian out as well. Like, I feel like he just really wants to kill Sally for, I think, no reason.
Just because his mom wants him to.
Well, yeah.
But Dorian's not going to get out of the car.
No.
Mom does get out of the truck.
Of course, because she...
mean.
Yeah, well, because Angus is doing what she wants him to do, so she wants them to die.
Right. And she's telling him stuff like, what's happening to my family? And he's like, don't cry, I'll make it better, Mom.
Oh, it's so crazy manipulative.
It's real fucked up. But Luke Wilson basically yells back at him through. They have like a ham radio in the truck.
Yeah.
But he's basically like, you're a good person, you're family, and I love you. And she's manipulating you into doing things that you don't need to do. Like, it's okay. And then he covers Sally with his own body.
Yeah.
So sweet.
Which would do nothing if an Apache shot at you. Like, it would go through you just like it went through the main character from 365's dad and hit him.
It's the thought that counts.
Well, it would force him to shoot Dorian to shoot Sally is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a chain gun's really not going to see the difference there. Like, I see what Todd's saying, but like, I agree that it was a good, sweet sentiment.
Well, I think it was not so much to block the bullets as much as I know he won't shoot me.
Right.
So if I'm here...
I don't know that he wouldn't have shot him. Like, if that was Mikey in the Apache helicopter and me in the truck, we would both be dead.
Who's the third person?
Paige.
Paige turns to Todd to cover him up, and I'm like, I don't know if I could shoot.
No. I think it's a gamble, but I think that's him saying, I trust you not to shoot me.
Yeah.
I say that to everybody in my life. I trust you, Todd, not to shoot me.
Yeah, I mean, I would never shoot you.
Oh, you shouldn't trust me. If it's you, me, or a zombie, like, I can't say what'll happen.
Shoot the zombie. What?
Yeah, but that should be an easy thing to do. Like, yeah.
If it's you or a zombie, I don't know.
I can't eat zombie meat. It's infected.
Zombies eat flesh.
Anyway, so Sally's going into labor in the truck. Angus lowers the guns. He takes the helicopter away. They leave Catherine O'Hara on the side of the road, and we cut to them getting into the hospital in active labor, and they won't let him in because he's not immediate family.
Right.
But he is her Lamaze partner, which if you're the one popping a baby out, you kind of have some say into who could be there. So she had asked for him.
Yeah.
Eventually, but the baby's already born, I think, at that point.
Oh, I didn't think the baby was born yet. I thought that like she got in there and got settled, and then he
I think
just
so,
sat
too.
on the bench outside, and then that doctor or nurse or whoever it was came out and was like, she's asking for you, come on in.
Well, because when he comes in, the baby's already out.
No,
I think that's the recovery period.
No, but I mean, like, he walks in the door.
No, but she told him to suit up and all that stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think it cuts as he walks through that door to him walking into like I think it cuts to like a few hours later or maybe a
like
day
6,
later.
6 hours later or whatever.
Yeah, to where he's like in the recovery room with the baby.
That's a bad, confusing cut.
It is.
then.
I'll agree
But
with
yeah.
that for sure.
Yeah. But anyway, they're trying to hash out, like, what do we call this baby? Because it's like, I'm your stepbrother. Your father was married to your grandmother, and you won't be seeing her, but you will get to meet Angus. And like,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call me, I will always be here for you.
It is sweet.
It is very sweet. And Drew Barrymore's like, I don't think he got all that. And then, or no, he says, Luke Wilson says, I don't think he got all of that. And Drew Barrymore's like, well, we'll make sure he does, implying that they will continue this relationship and he'll help raise that baby.
Yeah.
And that's the
movie.
So having seen the movie, having talked about the movie, what do you guys think about Home Fries?
It's weird.
It is.
It is a weird movie.
It is
But
so weird.
oddly made me feel warm inside.
Yeah, no, seriously. I was having a shitty day and I watched this movie and I was like, oh, I mean, I guess my day could be worse. They had 2 Apache helicopters in this movie, and I've never had an Apache helicopter in my life.
It's kind of toxic family relationships, the movie.
Yes.
Which is a little upsetting.
Yeah,
For sure.
that's fair. Yeah.
Well, that was like The Shining. This was like not as shiny.
Right. Do you think they're still together?
Yes.
I think they might be, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I definitely think they could be,
I do.
but I definitely think there's like a trauma bond that happened here. So those
Yeah.
don't typically last, but I mean, it could.
It's complicated.
I think they were in love before the trauma part.
I think so too. I think they were in love before they found out. They had already started falling for each other.
I think they've got that sweet, dumb kind of love where like they're just kind of
Yeah.
like they're nice people, but like, you know, not great critical thinkers. And then they found
Right.
someone who's just really sweet to each other.
Yeah.
And that's sweet.
Yeah.
What about some fun facts?
Yeah. So, Paige, do you have any fun facts for us?
Very few, but I do have some.
Well, hit us with your fun facts.
Very
Home fries,
few
fun facts.
So, as I mentioned, this was originally written in 1989 for a screenwriting class.
Oh, man.
But it wasn't made until almost a decade or more later.
Yeah, it was 98.
Originally, Red, her father, was Robin Williams.
What?
And he actually, yes, he was cast all the way through pre-production and dropped out literally weeks before principal photography began.
Wow.
Oh,
Okay.
That would have been a completely different vibe,
Yeah.
I think.
Wow, okay.
So Vince Gilligan is actually known for having murderous scenes or murderous plots center around fast food joints. It happens in almost all of his properties. It happens multiple times in Breaking Bad. But it seems like that is a theme for him.
Okay.
And when Angus refers to seeing a woman on TV where a woman killed her husband with a leg of lamb and then feeds it to the detectives, that's actually an episode of the Alfred Hitchcock Hour. So it was a fictional show. But those are your fun facts.
Well, thank you for those fun facts, Paige. Let's talk some box office. So what do you think the production budget for a Home Fries was?
It's a lot of Apache.
It's a lot of Apache helicopters. Honestly, without the Apache helicopters, not much. But with the Apache helicopters,
Yeah.
it's a lot.
$20 million. Drew Barrymore is big right now.
Yeah, no, you're right. Because I was going to say it's early in his career. I'm actually going to go 30 million.
Okay. This movie was $15 million to make, but if you adjust for
Alright.
inflation, it's actually $27.2 million.
Okay.
So you guys were closer if you account inflation.
Paige, we have to be 9.1% higher than last year's movies.
Oh,
That's just this past year's inflation. So when
Yeah.
you're talking to your companies about merit increases, if you don't get at least 9.1%, you're getting paid less than the year before.
yep. Mhm.
Know what you're getting when you walk in there. Okay, anyway, so this came out on November 27th, 1998, and it was number 8 in the box office the week it came out. It was beat by the number 1 movie that week was A Bug's Life. Number 2 was the Rugrats movie. Number 3 was
Solid.
Yeah, number 3
Yeah.
was Enemy of the State. Number
Oh,
4
also
was
solid.
Waterboy. And number 5
Solid.
was Babe, Pig in the City.
Super
Babe
solid.
Pig in the City, super solid.
The only movie that had premiered that week that was in the top 5 was Babe, Pig in the City. All of the other ones had been out for at least 2 weeks at that point.
Yeah, they're all classics.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. So there were a few more movies, and I'll just tell you what they were. Number 6 was Meet Joe Black. Number 7 was I
Ooh.
Still Know What You Did Last Summer. And then
We
number
gotta do Meet Joe Black on this
I
podcast.
know, right?
Yes.
Best death scene ever. And of course, number 8 was Home Fries.
Best death scene ever goes to Samuel L. Jackson in Deep Blue Sea.
Oh, that's
like, we all
fair.
know that.
Yeah.
Deepest,
That's fair.
bluest.
Best death scene ever is the grandma from Gremlins 1 who gets shot up the
Absolutely.
stairs and out the window.
staircase
Yeah.
and out the attic window. Yeah, it's the best. All right. So what do you think Home Fries brought in its opening weekend? And again, it was 8th in the box office.
I'm gonna say 2 million.
Okay.
I'm going to go 5.
Okay. You're on either side of it. So it was $3.7 million in its opening weekend. It was then in the box office for another 8 weeks. So 9 weeks total. What do you think it made for its full domestic run?
I'm gonna say 7 million.
Okay.
I'm going to say it made its money back. I'm going to go 15.
Okay. It is actually $10.5 million. It did not make its budget
Okay.
back. If you adjust for inflation, that's about $19.1 million today. So it did not make its budget back.
It did not pay for the Apache helicopters.
It absolutely did not. And I guarantee you they only had the Apache helicopters for one day, and they shot both the scenes you see them in that day.
I
Yep.
think they should have marketed the Apache helicopters more.
Oh, yeah. It definitely would have got you to the theater, Mikey, with how much you
Yeah.
love Apache helicopters.
Yeah. How many boyfriends would have taken their girlfriend to be like, that's not romantic comedy with all the Apache helicopters. It'll be like Top Gun.
I do want like someone to like recut this movie, but instead of like the soundtrack they have, it's just bam, 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 while like they're like trying to get away in the truck from the Apache helicopter. I'm here for that.
Or when the helicopters are like maneuvering, it's just playing with the boys.
Somebody get Kenny Loggins on the Home Fries soundtrack. Anyway, Prestige Worldwide would have done it. Anyway, that's your
Yeah.
box office. So, Mikey, do you want to hit him with that romantic scale?
Yeah, the romantic scale is a scale of 1 to 10 of how romantically we found the movie of the romance of the in the movie.
You said all of that perfectly, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I wrote that line.
You did.
Paige.
Man, 3?
I was
Okay.
going to give it a 3 because
Yeah.
it really isn't romantic, but they have really good chemistry.
Yeah.
I went 4.
Okay.
Because they have good chemistry just hanging out. And I think if they would have like gone on one date,
They did go on one date.
like afterwards, like after they kissed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I assume they went on many dates after she gave birth and like that scene, but the movie just ends, you know?
I don't like, you have movies where like all the tension is them getting together and then like immediately there's a conflict. I like it when there's tension, they get together, it shows them like be really happy, then the conflict.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I think that's,
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's kind of what we got because, like, the conflict isn't them treating each other badly, which I think
Right.
it normally is in movies. It's, you know,
That she fucked
it's
her
unavoidable.
stepdad
Yeah.
that he killed.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
He scared him.
Right. To death.
That's not a crime, right? Maybe.
I mean, I do think stealing an Apache
I mean,
helicopter
it's probably
to
technically
scare
a
your
war crime.
stepdad to death is a crime. Yes.
It's a war misdemeanor.
Either way, Dick Cheney would have been here for it. So this week, Mikey, you made us watch Home Fries.
Home fries.
Next week, I'm going to make you guys watch a movie that I think is very summer themed. That it came out on Hulu. Mikey told me to watch it immediately when it came out, and I checked it out, and I really dug it. I think it came out in 2020 though, and that is Palm Springs.
Did we not do that?
No.
Oh, it's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, it's
now.
really good. I mean, I like it a lot. I think Paige doesn't like it a lot.
I'm lukewarm on it. I have some problems with the growth of the characters in the film.
God, I swear, if you Andy sandbag this movie, I'm gonna be so mad at you.
I mean, it could be way worse. There are very funny things in the
Yeah.
movie, and so I think we have a lot to talk about. It's just one of those that, like, from a relationship standpoint, I did not connect with very much.
Yeah.
But
I know that Mikey loves like bonkers time travel summer, and this is not time travel technically, but it is.
it might as well be. It's
Yeah,
a loop.
yeah. It is a time loop summer. Yeah.
I mean, if we're gonna do it, let's do it.
this is
You
more
know
of like
what
a
I'm saying?
Groundhog Day type situation, but I'm here for it. So, guys,
I love
your
Groundhog
homework
Day.
for next week is to get wine drunk. So wine drunk, in fact, you think you're repeating the same day over and over, and on that same day, watch Palm Springs.
Groundhog Day is part of why I don't like Palm Springs as much. I prefer Groundhog Day.
That's fair.
I rewatched Groundhog's Day recently, and Bill Murray is pretty shitty in it, and I didn't remember that as before, and I'm just
He's
like, man.
real shitty in the beginning, but you do watch him grow as a person.
He has sort of an arc in it.
And I feel like that's part of what's missing for me in Palm Springs.
So, Mikey, do you have a review for us to read?
I do. This one's from Poker Lover 33.
All right. Well, what does Poker Lover 33
Poker,
have to say?
I hardly know her.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, you got. I'm sorry. They said, did you read this and pick your movie because of it?
No, I haven't looked at any reviews.
Their
Wait,
reviews,
did they say do Palm Springs?
Palm Springs emoji, Palm Springs emoji.
Oh, no shit. Okay. Well, I mean, yeah. Okay, cool. Do you want to read the review?
Movie recommendation! Exclamation point. I definitely think Palm Springs would fit into Mikey time travel summer! Exclamation point.
It would.
Now, I just want to say, listening to the host is like being in a room with your best friends, and they're just cracking joke after joke.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, that's fair.
I came over from Horror Virgin, and when I heard what y'all were making, I knew I had to come over here and listen.
Nice.
I'm so glad I get to listen to y'all twice a week. No notes,
No
5
notes.
stars.
Well, thank you so much, Poker Lover 33, for that awesome 5-star review. And we'll be doing the movie you suggested next week. So,
Yeah.
awesome. And if you want us to do the movie you leave in a review, leave us a 5-star review.
Leave review recommendations.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll read them.
Maybe.
you will.
Maybe I won't.
So, yeah, guys, if you like this power throuple that we have here on this podcast, make sure to check out our other podcast, The Horror Virgin. And that is the only other podcast that Mikey and I are on. But Paige gets around, and she is on 2 other podcasts, Black Card Rehab and Cult Podcast. So, guys, definitely check out those because they're amazing. If you want to follow us on social, we are at Romancing the Pod Show
Yes.
on
Yes.
Instagram, and we are at something else on Twitter who I just have never taken the time to learn
It's just Romancing Pod Show because they have a character limit and it's show SHO like Showtime.
So guys, check that out as well. And if you want to follow us all individually, Paige is at Rampage Wesley everywhere, including TikTok, except for Twitter, where she is at Paige Wesley. Mikey is at M Randolph24, and I am at Todd J Awesome everywhere. And guys, we got a P.O. box. So if you want to send us some love letters or whatever you might send to a P.O. box, it's actually not a P.O. box. It's like a regular street address. It's pretty awesome. It's 6688 Nolensville Road, number 108-34, Brentwood, Tennessee 37027. So send us some stuff.
Yeah.
That's going to be it for us, you guys. I'm Paige.
I'm Mikey.
And I'm Todd.
And you complete us.
To completion.
Hey, girl, you want to see my Vulcan cannon?
Are you lost, baby girl?
Are you lost, Bagul?
Are you lost, Gabagool?
Gabagool! Bye! Apache Gang Hill Nerds.